Hello and welcome to the Subpad Podcast, your entry into the land of no easy answers, as we journey through the vagaries of the mind, attempting to unravel the mysteries of why our brains brain.
Okay.
So
we're
talking
under
real fast,
tension.
and then-
We've got
and so then
exactly 20
we got
minutes.
this thing going on, and we were talking about this thing, and we're good. Okay, and we're done. Oh shit! Boy, that was
The end.
boy. What a quick
Join us
episode.
next week.
Yeah. Speed subvert. Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you for joining us. Cheers to you, and cheers to you.
And cheers to you.
I am Aaron Stewart, and this is the illustrious Kristen Ramore.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we're here to talk about getting out again. Out and like doing
out.
stuff despite the, natural, I think most of us have been feeling this natural inclination to just, not.
But before we get into it, go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below.
You're
Every
so good
time,
at this.
Aaron.
You're so good at. Well, see, this is why you're. I mean, not why you're here, but
It's the only reason I'm on the show is to remind people to subscribe to it.
Yeah. So Vancouver has been tough for me. Just trying to meet people and making connections with people was difficult, and then pandemic hit, and what I thought, was something that I had, built, turned out to be, house built of straw on a bed of sand, with in the middle of Tornado Alley with a.
Seemed like a good investment
right on
at
the
the
fault
time.
line, exactly. And all of it just seemed to conspire to now have me going, wait, was it me? Wait, I mean, right? I don't think it was me, but it's sure. Okay, must have been me. Okay, right, fair enough.
That's the easy answer to this
episode.
episode.
It's pretty clear, yeah.
The problem was you.
Well,
Discussion over.
we do like to call it the land of no easy answers, but that is specifically because we don't talk specifically about how I am the
You
easy
are
answer
the problem.
for exactly the easy answer for why this is an issue. Yes.
But it is something I've heard a lot in Vancouver, and please comment. I know we've got viewers from all over the place, whether this is something you've struggled with or you've heard people struggling with too, is this difficulty in finding connection. And if you've just moved somewhere, trying to break into a new friend group, and it can be really, really tough for sure. And I have definitely heard Vancouver's tougher than other places, but again, that's just because we live here, so that's what
Maybe
we
it's
hear
just a
about,
big
so.
city thing too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Toronto, all the big cities in the world.
Yeah.
Vancouver, Toronto, I don't know if there's others, but
But I guess once you're, at that point, unless you're going out and you're going to, the clubs every night and things like that, because then you have, you tend to have a much larger, acquaintance group. I don't want to say friend group
this
that
was
way,
the
but
thing, right? It was whether you're making friends or acquaintances, and there's different levels to all of it, and you go from hey bro to right.
But having
to,
an
"Hey, bro."
actual friendship, it's really, really hard to actually forge it, right? So I think when values shift, which maybe the pandemic played a part in, maybe people were more likely to seek out that genuine kind of connection and genuine friendship and relationships, and then realizing that's much more difficult than, before you valued it so much when it was just, quantity over quality, so to speak. And now it's like, okay, well, how do we get back to it? And now especially that a lot of mindsets have shifted into this more kind of like people are at home more and kind of nesting more and not putting themselves out there as much, and for whatever reason, I don't know.
Why bother, right? I mean,
Well,
bunch
because
bunch of people.
a lot of people can suck. And all you
So we've
need,
heard.
but all you need is that one or two negative kind of interactions. Like, let's say you've just moved to a new place and you put yourself out and you approach, a group of people that are maybe partaking in an activity you enjoy, and, hey, do you mind if I join you? And you get rejected straight away or laughed at or whatever, like, how likely are you to go and do that again?
And that's the problem, like the gang mentality, where even if one person in that group would have been like, yeah, come on, right? Like, as soon as one person was like, no, you're not. Okay, I guess he's not coming in then. Right? And it's just, like you said, forging these actual meaningful relationships is where it becomes an issue, right? I mean, I can make acquaintances with the best of them, despite my natural, I'm an introvert with social anxiety, and I like to just, do my thing, and I'll go out and my recharging is here, right? And then I'm using my energy going out and kind of giving it to people, right? So for others, it might be different, but yeah, it's been real, one of those things where you try to put yourself out, and it's where are you supposed to go that will get you this actual like connection with the people who are actually going to make a meaningful connection or interested in, right? Like going to the bar never seemed like that place for me, right? Like for one thing, having to yell at people while at a place, like we went for a business meeting the other day it
escalated.
and I mean, it was very nice. It was a wonderful place, but the music was just, it was set to, hey, how's it going? Okay, yeah, so we wanted to have a meeting about this. Yeah, which makes it a little, and that kind of thing for me, like if my ears are ringing at the end of our conversation, I don't, no, sorry, right? So, yeah, for me, the setting has always kind of been a issue, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, short of the bars, where do you meet people, right?
Well, I mean, I guess like any other but hopefully people have other activities than just going to the bar.
Wait, there's like other stuff you can do?
I don't know if anyone's ever told you this,
but
you
there
go
to like
other activities.
The other bar, right? And then you just do the bar hop. Isn't that the...
Wait. So you get up in the morning, you go to work, you go to the bar.
Bar.
And you go home. Work. I don't understand.
Yeah. Where's
the time to do anything else? I don't get it.
Making friends in this environment is very difficult. when all you've got is drinking and I guess working or something.
But arguably, like I guess that's a situation where you would meet more people because
Well, and that's I was actually
inhibitions are lowered and people are more likely. Who hasn't made the best friend just for a night? Like. The friends you make in the bathroom are friends for life.
Well, and there was that
until you wake up the next day. Why do I have so many pictures of this random person?
Who was that? I don't even remember. Yeah.
But even going out and let's say you're active and outdoorsy and things like that. Like that's again there are other people like-minded there. But I think the issue is there's a lot of people have closed themselves off so much. That's particularly the issue we hear about here in Vancouver. And please, again, comment if you've dealt with the same. Or maybe you live in a magical place that everyone's the opposite and everyone's friendly. I don't know. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of this closed off. Whereas if a stranger approaches you, your immediate response is like, danger, no, don't talk to them. It's weird. So people just have this really, no, I'm not open to anything new or... and that's why it's a really tough thing to actually make new connections. It's tough. How do you get past that point with another person,
Yeah. And I mean, I look mostly homeless to begin with. So I'm sure that tempers a few of these conversations to begin with. Oh, that guy. Right.
He's going to ask me for my spare change.
Right. Get the hair in the face. Hey there. I was hoping to make some friends. Hey, I'm really friendly. I'm really... Hugs. Hey, this is fine.
Can you spare $1?
Exactly. So, and that, I don't know. I don't think that necessarily helps the situation, but it's one of those, how do you get to the point where these are the people you trust? Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of the question mark, I think, in a lot of people's minds in these big cities is, you spend time with people and are you really even seeing who they are, meeting them? Or is this just a construct that they're hoping will please you and make you not want to, right? And it's tough to really be authentic with people that you've only just met. Mm-hmm. And how do you get to the point where you can actually, build this kind of relationship where you don't have to worry about, mm-hmm. bringing out your authentic self and having that fear of rejection.
Well, it's same with, link back to our past episodes, we talked about this thing, but just within the dating world. But, it's essentially the same thing when you're looking to build that level of authentic connection. And it is really tough. And we did kind of delve into that in that particular sphere. And same things apply, right? When everyone is so closed off, so worried about kind of appearances and, it's all about social media personas and what people will think of them and how they're going to be judged. And everyone wants to appear like they're of, a higher status and all of this garbage that's all wrapped together. So just looking for any sort of authentic connection is really tough right now. And, you know, I think even at the best of times, they say, like, if you have, like, 5 good friends, then that's actually, like, you're winning already in life.
Okay, perfect.
You know what I mean? Because,
Yeah.
like, it's easy to get fooled into this, like, I have so many friends, and then you feel lesser than because you're comparing yourself, because that's what we do, we compare. But what are you comparing to? Are you comparing to anything that's actually authentic? Like, yeah, we need to really ask what we are comparing to. What are we jealous of? What do we feel we are lacking by comparing ourselves to others? Because arguably when you're looking and you have that, you know, kind of jealousy or longing for, oh, what that person has over there. Now, whether it's friendship, relationship, material things, whatever it is, right? It's, okay, what...
Subscribers.
It's what do I feel I am lacking? You know, because what that person is presenting is probably not the truth. Probably. Maybe it is. If it is, then bravo, that's awesome. But
Well, and this is where, again, like, we all wear these masks, so it's the truth in the moment,
Sure.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
as you would hope, right, that at least we're being that somewhat, that this, yeah, that's me, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that you're at least playing an act that you're used to playing and not, you know, but, yeah, I mean, we're all, yeah, you got to wait 3 months before you actually meet the real people.
Well, and that's it. And I mean, to have that level of genuineness with a lot of people, I don't think is actually really possible, because it's like the amount of deep trust it takes to actually show your vulnerable true self to another human being, right? Like, and that's why they say you are so lucky if you have like 5 people that you've genuinely built that with. Even if you only have 1 or 2, you're still absolutely winning, because that's a tough thing to find.
Indeed. Well, thanks for being
You
one of
know?
my ones.
Oh.
I guess 2, fine.
But I mean, it would just be exhausting, really, to try and, you know, like, not even exhausting.
Maintain those relationships, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's hard work. Like,
Yeah.
a true relationship is hard. Being that level of vulnerable with someone else is hard. And that means accepting their level of vulnerability as well, and accepting that person for exactly who they are. And you know what? That's messy and hard and difficult. And so we're, for some reason, being fed this, oh, everyone has these, you know, hundreds of these genuine connections. And when you really think about it, you go,
Yeah.
no, you don't.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible. Like, you would...
Well, I was just having an analogy of a dinner party, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you invite 5 people over, it's right, like a nightmare to plan and do all this, right? But imagine having 50 people over,
Yeah.
right? Well, now it's gone from this, you know, thing that you can imagine yourself actually doing to this, like, oh my God, I can't, and your brain just goes, I don't wanna, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be the same kind of thing with the relationships. In order to, you know, maintain those relationships, you have to be having this dinner party every second night, right? Like, you need to be constantly keeping track of everybody at this party, and that would just be like, for me especially, that would just be like,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'd be able to maintain that for about an hour, and then I need to go hide somewhere off in the corner for 10 minutes and go, okay, here we go. You know, and that's, everybody's different, right? So I mean, some people that's where they thrive, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, are they making the real connections, or is this just something where we're touching on everybody and moving on?
Yeah.
Right?
Which is fine too.
Yeah.
And I mean,
juggling
I
those-
think
you're
it's just
spinning those plates.
we're, yeah, looking at how we're presenting things, right? Because I mean, the reality is that people will just fill a different role in your life. You know, like, it's, you can't expect any one person to be the everything and everything to you. You know what I mean? In any sort of partnership.
But-
So
You keep saying this, and I keep going,
but you know, so you can have different levels, and it's perfectly okay to say, we all have that, like, oh, this is my friend in this scenario, you know, this is my friend kind of in this scenario. And you don't ever expect, you wouldn't say, okay, maybe my like closest friends, you know,
Well,
but
this
we
is
all
where-
have
yeah.
these different levels, and yet we're trying to present these different levels of this, you know, absolute ride or die, right? And realistically, again, it goes back to, you're lucky to have maybe a handful of those.
But this is where, you know, you try to find at least those people. You know, I always say a relationship is just making, you know, finding people that'll put up with your faults and that you can put up with theirs,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you can deal with that, the good stuff's easy. right? Like, well, then all the stuff that we have in common becomes this nice simple thing that just, you know, we expect that to happen, right? But it's when you find people's blemishes, right? When you find people's faults, when they stumble and you watch them and you go, right? Oh, is that who they are? Right? Where when you watch them like do something that you would not, you know, expect from, that you would not put up with, that you would not, right? Like, where does the relationship go then? How forgiving are we at those times? You know, how much, you know, actual effort are we willing to put into people once you see them, you know, the same as you?
Yeah.
You know, that is kind of where we get to. These faults are the same faults that you have. We'd all like to say, oh no, I'm perfect and I don't have anything, but that's the thing here, is that, you know, we need to be as forgiving of others as we are of ourselves, and that's where it becomes an issue, because I mean, I'm my own worst enemy for all of this, right? That's where these conversations in my head most of the time are going in the right? Like, oh, did I see? Oh shit, I did. Oh damn it, I did say that, didn't I? Right?
Well, I think it all comes down to, at the end of the day, expectation. And again, we covered this kind of in a past episode. It's having expectations of others that don't get met, or having unrealistic expectations. And that kind of, boils down to that, oh, I expect you to give me something in a way, you know? So then it's, if someone doesn't behave in the way that you want them to, you're not likely then to put more effort into it, you know? Whereas it's like, where did these expectations come from in the first place? By putting expectations on people, you're already not willing to see them for who they are, right? Because an expectation is just a projection of whatever it is that's inside you, your own crap that you're trying to get out, right? So you're already like subconsciously saying, I don't want to put any effort in. I just want you to be this way for me, you know? And if everyone's kind of doing that, then this is where it's led to, is it's now very, very difficult to connect, because we're all just projecting our shit out and expecting other people to somehow read our minds and not get their own needs met just to be able to meet ours, you know?
Well, I was reading an article the other day about the spotlight effect, right? Where when you're out in public, like when I'm out in public, you know, it always feels like all eyes are on me, right? And
well, naturally they are.
Well, I mean,
they're all just like, keep an eye out for this homeless guy who's going to rob this store.
Yes, that is the usual, right? But it's one of those where, and that's apparently a psychological effect for all of us, where we all think that all others are watching and judging us far more than they actually are, right? For the most part, most people are only worried about their own shit. Right? And so that smudge on your shirt that you're like, oh God, everybody's gonna see, oh my, or that thing in your teeth that you were like, oh my God, everybody saw that, and I was there for 3 hours and nobody said nothing to me. Well, nobody saw it. That's why nobody said anything, right? Like, it's those little things that are inside our brains become these gigantic, huge, monstrous things that we've got to face, instead of it actually being this, no, right? Like, were you to remove the spotlight from it, right? Yeah. And just be like, no, you're just running this through as a test run of your play, right? Yeah. You know, you'd find that it was less of a thing that you would, right? Like, that at the end of the show, people would walk up to you and go, holy, where did you pull that from, right? And you'd go, well, that was me trying to not do what I was trying to, right? And then, oh, okay, sure. You know, and it becomes one of those where, you know, trying to become something else holds you back from being what you're supposed to be doing in the first place. And that becomes now this, again, mask that we're wearing, instead of learning to be authentic and just being blemish first, right? Like, you know, going out on the first date and being like, okay, so here's my shit. Right? I got this and the thing with the cats. I don't know what's going on, but right? Like, you know, and drivers, oh my God, you know, and just get that out of the way, so that we can all be just like, okay, right? Like, it's done now, right? Like, this is me, right? Yeah. And this is the, you know, and hopefully that shit is something that we can now move forward. You can go, oh, I've got that too, right? Like, yeah, drivers, oh.
Well, I think, right? Just leading with the human.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that, you know, I challenge kind of everyone to do frequently anyways, is to really kind of sit and dissect all of this. Like, where do these kind of wants come from? Or what is it that I'm trying to project and bond with people over? And is it something I actually value and care about? And if you really get into it, you know, the reasons why you're trying to put that out there, I'm going to argue most of the time it's actually probably not one of your core values. It's probably something that you feel you need to put out there because, again, we go back to that. This is what social acceptance is now, because everyone needs to be suddenly appearing on this like higher status level. So we feel that's the most important thing to lead with. But is that your human? Is that really your human? You know, and ask yourself that. You know, because if we can lead, like you said, with the humanness of it, like all of this like crap that's fed to us, pop culture shit, materialist shit, I don't think, I hope that's not anyways, most people's core values. And yet that's what a lot of people lead with, you know, kind of whatever is the buzz topic of the day that, you know, you can see where that conversation's going, or the hot thing you know, currently have to have, or the newest car to drive, or, you know, whatever it is. And people make all of that their identity, you know, and if that's what you're trying to bond and meet new people is through that side, yeah, it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah,
and then when
it's
you
the exception of all else. That's kind
yeah. Well, and I mean, it should be the easiest thing to bond over because it's common culture, you know? So if you're going out to meet friends, obviously that's the best way to do it. But what we need to realize is our common culture right now is pretty fucking skewed and actually goes against our core humanity in a lot of ways. So then when someone does try to bond genuinely, they're seen as kind of like the outsider, the freak, the weirdo of just like, ugh, who is this person that's, you know, not adhering to these new social rules that we've well, not even we've constructed, someone's constructed for us.
Oh no, we're constructing them. We're doing it. Absolutely. The sock puppets are blazing the way. We're definitely forging a new path here. Well, and I wonder, you know, like speaking of connections, right? I wonder how, you know, is there an actual way to make a connection over greed, right? Like a lot of these things that we have, you know, this flashy, bling centric, you know, thing that we've built here, you know, is it possible, like if you're greed first in terms of, you know, oh, I've got to wear the best stuff, I've got to wear the nicest clothes, I've got to look the right, like you're again projecting that. How are we really connecting with you, right? Like, and if that is you, that's a question that we should start asking as well, right? Like, if that it really are your core values is just money, money, money. Well, what does that mean for us as a society? How are we making these people that have lost this idea of, well, the only reason you have that money is because of other people, right? Like, money doesn't come from just this magical place that, right? Like, money is people, right? And the idea that we've lost this connection of, you know, yeah, you can go buy things, but somebody had to make it. Somebody had to make this happen, right? Like, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. These things have to happen in a community of people that have helped to make this. And the idea that you're collecting more than anyone else, how are we supposed to make a meaningful connection with each other if my only thought is you're just here to take from me whatever you can get, right? And I think that's part of kind of where what we need to hopefully do in the next little while here is just address that for the most part, as far as I'm concerned, most of the issues that we face in the world today are kind of a greed-based problem, right? And the idea that, you know, price is what they are, the idea that rent is what it, right? Like that all these things are, like that all of these things are squeezing us at all times. It all comes down to greed, and that makes everybody angry. That makes it hard to connect with people. That makes it tough to, right? Like if I don't have $10 even to go out to, right? Like, well, I can't even go out for a drink. Well, right? You know, and if we don't have that kind of ability even to get over these hurdles that have been placed in front of us to even get to the point where we could be available and you know, be authentic and you know, just like have a discussion with someone that is actually about who we are and what we value and what we really want to be in the world. And, oh, you like that too? Like, how do we build this thing together, right?
Well, you need to have accountability to yourself first as well. And I think that's a big thing that we've touched upon in previous episodes, but we'll get into it a bit more. Is this, you know, again, looking at what your values are. And if a lot of it kind of feeds into this disposability culture that we have, a lot of things have lost meaning, sadly, Almost everything has actually lost meaning.
Pretty much.
Because it can just be everything tossed away, start over. So if you've lost the ability for anything to mean something, and even our own words, for example, let's look at language as the first. Yeah, I mean, language doesn't seem to mean anything anymore, which is something I've really come to realize is words, what you say, and holding yourself accountable, and actually how you even communicate. You look at, there's always the joke, especially in Vancouver, about flakiness, but I feel like that's everywhere. People are just more and more flaky. They're not holding themselves accountable because the words don't mean anything anymore. And so if we're now all part of this culture where you don't hold yourself accountable because you don't have any meaning, or you're not able to come up with any meaning to what you do, what you say, I mean, that's a pretty chaotic, horrible way to live. And no wonder we can't connect, because if you can't even communicate with things that mean something to you, how on earth are you going to communicate and genuinely form bonds with anybody else?
Mer. Yeah, and that's kind of something that, we don't really teach kids how to communicate, right? Like, we have all these classes in math and English, which you're never going to use, right? But we don't really teach them how to, meaningfully connect with each other, right? Like, what would friending 101 look like? Right?
Well, I mean, I argue that we do, and we certainly did, but I think the advent of social media culture has ruined language. Because
now
if
you got this AI thing that's going to basically be speaking for us now, so you don't even have to write anything anymore. You can just type a prompt into an AI, and it'll spit out the whole thing for you.
So who knows where that's going to go forward? But at least
next episode.
Before all of this, I mean, you were taught that your words do mean something. They have power. Which they do.
Stand by your word.
Of course they
right?
do.
Your
and especially, back in the day,
bond.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, if you live up to your own word, that would be the most socially shameful thing that could ever happen, is if you went back on your own word. And now, because we can just type out and spew out whatever we want to with no repercussion, our word has lost its meaning and its power.
Yeah.
And there's no repercussion for people saying hurtful things. There's no repercussions for people lying anymore. There's no repercussions for any of it. So, if so, what's the fucking point? Why should I listen to what anyone has to say? Why are you listening to this right now? Who knows?
Yeah, and I think shame used to be a pretty, potent motivator back in the day, right? I mean, if you were in a small village of 50 people, right, shame's a pretty powerful motivator to get your act together and not do things that are outside of the norm of the tribe, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
We should be holding people.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you hit on there, the repercussions is the operative word there for, why I think things have kind of taken this turn, is that, you watched, and we've talked about it before, but I think it was the Trumpification of shit that really was a turning point, where now you saw someone who had no repercussions say shit that was just like any other time that would have been disqualifying. It would have, totally... How could you even think of putting that person into that kind of office, knowing that they had done, said, would do, have done, continue to, right? Like, and the idea
that's our whole leadership.
Yeah.
And celebrities,
and now it's becoming more and more the far right
to.
And the far left. Now, like, instead of it being the center that's trying to lead this conversation, now it's become these out extremist kind of views that are driving these conversations. Which I get, sure, like, you try to pull the window a little bit so that it's less of a, right, like, a taboo thing to talk about, so to speak, right? But the idea that we're pulling it towards these authoritarian ideas, that we're going back to, like, the 19th, before World Wars, right? Yeah. Like, that we seem to have forgotten that this was something we, like, brought the whole world into and went, no. We don't want someone to just tell us how
but we're also following ideology from people that don't, again, hold themselves accountable to their own words.
That,
have lied publicly and been, called out for it, that have gone against what they've said they're going to do. And then, again, no repercussions. It's just, well, it's normal.
When
it's
I
okay
first
now.
heard the alternative facts, that's when I first just kind of went, what? You know, like that was a problematic term for me.
Yeah.
Right? The idea that, oh, no, that wasn't the facts. There's alternative facts. There's other stuff. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's right. For especially when it's like demonstrably provable stuff that we like, no, we established that actually, no, that definitely was a thing. It definitely provably happened. And yet we're now arguing about why or what, right? And it's this semantics problem now, right? Like we talk about woke culture and all this like attack on this idea of woke. Well, woke was something that the communities who had been held down were trying to use to shine this spotlight on these things, right?
Yeah.
To actually like call attention to, and now it's become something that's subverted, right? Against, the exact thing that it was trying to bring out in the first place. And
Yeah.
so, again, this culture of why would I say something why would I try to build relationships? Why would I try to, forge a bridge when it feels like everything is just built around us to tear everything down? I don't necessarily.
Well, again,
right?
let's get back to, finding meaning. If you can really just kind of dig deep and ask yourself, what is the meaning to this thought that I am vehemently holding on to and, expressing, like, what is the meaning I attach to that? Where does it come from? And a lot of it is we're just blindly accepting things because, again, there's no meaning to it anymore. So it's much easier just to absorb like instant gratification culture, what we have now, throwaway disposability. Why should you have to dissect anything further? Because if you don't like it, you can just toss it aside. Yeah, and I do think that's the only way forward, is to really get back your own personal accountability, because that's the only thing any of us have any control over anyways, right? And really ask yourself, like, am I as good as my own word? Good place to start, because if you can't even hold yourself accountable to your own words, then what's the fucking point, right? Then your behavior is going to follow. Your behavior then becomes meaningless. And
anyway.
Well, I think, to wrap it all up.
I was going to say, to end this thing, so you find a destination here. Yeah.
It's going back to, as it always does, is just looking for the humanity in somebody else, right? Yeah. Anytime, to get out of our own heads and get out of this, what we've been fed to us is important, and instead just, recognizing that is a human being right there. And we have far more in common with each other than we do differences. God. And let's start from there and see what happens, like trying to bond from that place instead of this forced, weird personas that we're all putting on, or this egotistical place where we're the most important thing and nothing else matters.
Obviously, I'm the most important person.
Aaron aside.
I mean...
But let's leave it there, shall we?
Sure.
Otherwise, we'll just keep going all day.
As we've been known to do.
But please comment and chime in, join the conversation, and, let us know your struggles and, trying to meet new people and breaking into new friend groups, and, what suggestions might you have for other people. And we'd love to hear these. We are here for you all.
Tell us all your faults. It's cool.
So we can use them against you.
It's a safe space. No, it's a safe space. We would never do that. You're going to use mine against me, so I guess,
Anyways,
I'm laying them all out here.
Don't forget to hit subscribe, follow us on, after we always do this, after shitting on social media, follow us on social media. Why not?
If
we ever post anything, which we don't. One day.
Building authentic relationships.
That's what we're all about. We prefer this to the level of communication, if you haven't guessed already. But so please be part of our community.
Give us a call, on our landlines. I don't know. Anyway,
thanks for joining us, everyone.
Have a great day. Have the best one.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.